Okay, so question: if you were in the market for a new automobile, you've got a job, so you pay for the automobile, so you want to buy a new car. Would you um, a figure out what type of vehicle you want, figure out all the details, the financials, see if you can pay for it, all the particulars first, and then go and trade your car in or sell your car and purchase the new automobile? Or would you B, since you know you want a new car, get rid of the vehicle that you have, which is your only form of transportation, while you try to figure out what kind of car you want and if you can afford it? Which answer would you pick, A or B? I personally would pick A. I'd make sure I have something in place before I got rid of what I have. I think that's the common sense approach. I think that's logical. But apparently, politicians don't think that way. We got Kamala Harris talking about same thing that what's his name, John Kerry was talking about, that Biden was talking about. The new jobs that we need, the green jobs. We need to move into green energy. Yet they don't have the infrastructure in place right now. So this time, Kamala Harris gets posed the same question that John Kerry was posed about the workers and the people who are working in this industry, people who are losing jobs. What are we going to do about that? Listen to the exact question that this reporter asks, and then take a listen to the answer that Kamala Harris gives. This should be enlightening, extremely enlightening. Let's take a listen to this.
Employment, of course, during the pandemic has been a major issue, as you've touched on. Adding to that uncertainty, people in traditional energy jobs have concerns about the Biden administration's clean energy plan. People who work in coal especially have heard before that there will be jobs and programs to help them transition, to no avail. Why should they believe that this time will be different?
Okay, before we go into Kamala's answer, let's think about the question that was asked. She said that people have concerns. And why would they believe that, based on what's happened already in the past, why would they believe that anything should be different this time? You've got people already losing jobs based on a decision with no job to replace that. If that's already happening going forward, why wouldn't they believe that it would continue? Why wouldn't they believe that anything should be different? What reason do they have to believe that? That is a valid question and a direct question. But listen to this answer. Let's pick this apart. Let's unpack this.
Well, first of all, let me say that the president has been very clear that this is not about any existing leases in terms of coal and what we're doing in terms of oil and coal and federal lands. This is about what we need to do going forward to create more jobs.
Notice she's stuttering. She can't get it together. She's stuttering. She's trying to figure this out, right? This is another one of those hard questions that doesn't have, it's not one of those scripted questions where they already have the answer prepared. So she is asked something that's a little harder than a softball question. She's already defensive, right? She doesn't want to have to answer this question. So she starts stuttering. But she says it's not about leases, current leases, and things that are already in place. This is about going forward. But contrast that with the fact that the work is stopping. The work has stopped. Pipeline work has stopped in many locations. The wall construction has stopped. All these jobs are being lost right now, in this moment in time. And in her reality, that has nothing to do about it. It's all about the future. She can't make that mental leap between the present and the future with the understanding that there has to be a transition. I think in their minds, you time warp from right now to the future. You just somehow magically get there. And a side note to that, I think that's why they seem to be trying so hard to tear the country apart, to shut everything, to destroy everything that's in place. When they say build back better, it's not rebuild from the point that you're at better, because their plan doesn't work that way. They want to break it all the way down, destroy everything, right? They want to, in terms of a vehicle, like I brought it up earlier, in terms of a vehicle, this is not a repair job. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a repair job. They are totaling the vehicle. The United States economy is the vehicle, and their goal is to total it out completely so that they can start over with their new plan. What they don't understand is that you can't just start over without repercussions, without remaining damage. You have to transition. But let's continue.
The president feels very strongly that when we are thinking about saving our environment, when you talk to him about climate change, the first thing that he talks about is job creation. And so it's job creation around investing in American manufacturing, job creation.
Okay, so before we move forward, the first thing he talks about is job creation. So why isn't that the first thing he's doing? If his first and primary concern, his most important goal, is job creation, why isn't that the primary concern right now? Why not create jobs before you destroy jobs? Why would you, if your goal is job creation, here's my thing. That makes it sound to me like I have 50 jobs, right? If I want job creation, either I want to have 50 different types of jobs, or I want to increase the number of jobs by adding different types of jobs, create new jobs. Why is it that you would start that process by destroying jobs? If you think about that, the logic of that, you're going to spend the next 10 years trying to get back to where we already were. Why would you do that when you can maintain what you have, focus on creating jobs, and then transition, a one-for-one swap as new jobs become available? Because you don't even know when jobs are going to become available. Let's continue.
In terms of investing in American infrastructure and building back up American infrastructure, job creation around, for example, all of those skilled workers who are in the coal industry, and transferring those skills to what we need to do in terms of dealing with reclaiming abandoned landmines, what we need to do.
Okay, stop right there. Reclaim abandoned landmines. Okay. That was a mistake. That was a gaffe. What she intended to say, I believe she intended to say reclaim abandoned mining lands. I think she got that backwards. I can give her that slip, but it reveals something. What it reveals is that you're listening to a person who really has no idea what they're talking about. She doesn't really understand the information that she's trying to relate. Maybe a 50,000 foot view, this broad view. But what you have is you have the worker on the ground. It's almost like in the military. You have the soldier on the battlefield. You have the general who's further back, a lot further back. And in order for them to command and to utilize that unit, those units to the best ability on the battlefield, there's so many leaders that are in between. There's a chain of command, and there's a chain of expertise, and you have a lot of times you have people who are at a lower level than you that work for you, and this can be many levels down, that their level of expertise is just miles and miles and miles above your own. Yeah, you're the boss. Yeah, you're the executive. Yeah, you're the CEO. But you don't know and you don't understand things like the people that are on the ground, the actual workers, the lower level management, I experienced this working for a quasi-government agency. Um, the lingo is one thing that never sat right with me. The language that was used by upper management when referring to lower level management and even middle level management, but especially the lower level management. There was a lack of respect there. There was a lack of respect for people who got the job done every day, and ultimately those who were in these higher up positions, they got there politically. It's the same thing we see here. They don't really even understand the functions that are taking place beneath them. And that's what we see here. You can't they when she says skilled labor, in her mind, skilled labor is just that, just skilled labor. She doesn't understand the difference in the skills, the difference in the technologies. You can be highly skilled in one area. That doesn't mean you can immediately transition to another level or another position that requires a high skill level. Yes, you're capable of it, but there's a period of time in between. You got to be trained up for that. Skilled labor is not produced overnight, and it's definitely not produced by just going to a school. A lot of this stuff comes from years and years and years on these jobs, and these people have absolutely no respect for it. They can't even comprehend it, probably because they never really got their hands dirty before. But let's continue.
Around plugging leaks from oil and gas wells and transferring those important skills to the work that has yet to be done, that needs to get done.
Work that many Americans would argue still needs done is some sort of financial relief for people struggling to make ends meet as month 10 of the COVID-19 pandemic drags on.
The president and I are really clear. We can't continue this way, and we've got to work with a sense of urgency. And so we're offering the American Rescue Plan that's about opening schools back up in a safe way. It's about getting support for small businesses, getting relief for families. So many people have been unemployed for almost a year at this point. Hardworking folks
I got it.
Who have lost their jobs.
See, you hear how insane that is. She's talking about how so many people have been unemployed, and some up to a year. You're creating more unemployment as we speak. You're creating more unemployment. So how can you pretend to be so concerned about people being unemployed when you're exacerbating the problem? And I think that they believe that they move so quickly that you can't keep up with what they're saying, or that they have I think they have this they think they have this magic ability to be able to change a subject, and you just forget. Maybe it's just an underestimating the intelligence of the people that they're talking to. Like, I don't remember what you said 2 minutes ago. You just said job creation was an important factor. Then you destroy jobs. Now you're saying that you've got all these people unemployed, but you're making more people unemployed. And notice she said that we've got this sense of urgency. Sense of urgency. It's like that's the saying, fools rush in. Fools rush in where angels fear to tread. They are fools. Bottom line. And they just rush in without thinking through things. They don't know what's on the other side of that door. They haven't taken the time to gather intelligence about what's on the other side of that door. All they know is that crossing through that threshold, their goal, where they think they want to be, is somewhere on the other side of it. So they just rush in there. They're fools. Fools rush in. That's exactly what they're doing here. And all they're doing is exacerbating the problem, and they're trying to do things so quickly that you can't really keep up with it, for one, because they want this. They want the jobs to be gone. They want to destroy the economy. That's what they need to do in order for their plan to quote unquote work. That's why they're trying to rush everything through. But pay attention to what she's about to say.
for no fault of their own. And the president and I feel very strongly that these are the moments when we are facing a crisis of unbelievable proportion, that the American people deserve their leaders to step up and stand up for them.
The plan includes things like $1,400 checks for each person in a household, expanded unemployment benefits, and it would mount a national vaccination program. West Virginia has been leading the nation when it comes to actually getting shots in arms. Earlier this week, President Biden said that distribution would be based on a state's population. West Virginia is a small state with one of the oldest and most vulnerable populations. So is basing the distribution on a state's population fair, especially when small states like West Virginia are efficiently getting people vaccinated?
Okay, brace yourself. Here comes the hidden message, right? I didn't mention this earlier on in the video. I wonder if anybody catches this. I'm gonna go ahead and put it out, but let me know if you caught it at the same time I caught it. Listen to this.
Our plan is to get everybody vaccinated without any question.
Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear what I heard in terms of the virus? What did you hear? What did that sound like to you? I made a video about this when I first started this channel. Because it's one of the things that pissed me off so bad. I said, oh, you know what? I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Get this off my chest. But in that video, I talked about 330 million vaccines. Why is that number that important? Why 330 million? She just said that their intention is to get everyone vaccinated. Everyone. What does that sound like to you? To me, that sounds like whether you want it or not, everyone. And then note the language that she used right behind that.
So our plan was and remains that for the first 100 days of our administration, 100 million vaccinations will be performed.
Will. She said the word will. W-I-L-L. I remember in the Army, whenever I received a copy of orders being reassigned to a new station, the first words were always, you will. You will. You will report to. And I remember as I matured and got older, grew up, it didn't set right with me anymore. I got to a point where it bothered me. Someone said, you will. Had no choice. But I signed up for that. I volunteered for that. I put my signature on the line and I committed for a certain amount of time. I gave up that ability to make my own decision as far as that was concerned. I understood that. Did that more than once. But when it was time for me to leave, that was one of my primary considerations. I want control back. I want my life back. I want to be in charge of my decisions going forward. So when someone says you will, that bothers me. You see, I paid my dues. But it's not even about that. It's about being a sentient being, an adult, an individual. They don't see it that way. There's not going to be a choice. I said this a while back. I'm saying it again. There's a big misdirection play that's going on right now. Right now, anytime they tell you there's a problem or send you in a direction where you would offer support, you should be sure that you're running into the problem. Right now, they're saying there's not enough vaccine. And people are having trouble getting vaccine. That's to get your mind into a state where you start thinking, why can't I have the vaccine? The vaccine's so great and I'm being left out. Fear of missing out. I'm being left out. Why can't I get the vaccine? So by the time they say, oh, you're lucky, we have a few doses left, you feel privileged. Or at the worst case, you're like, you better have some vaccine left. Everybody else is getting some. But everybody's not going to think like that. So what about the people who don't want it under any circumstances? You heard what she just said. It's coming. You will. Me personally, I'm prepared to accept whatever repercussions of my decision. I'm not taking the shot. I don't need it. I don't take the flu shot. I did take a flu vaccine one time and it almost killed me. But it's going to get ugly. Well, let me stop that rant. That's it. What did you hear? Did you hear that? Did you hear the same thing that I heard in reference to the vaccine? Did you hear the same thing that I heard in reference to the hypocrisy with killing jobs left and right and then talking about how much they're trying to help people? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section, guys. See you on the next video. Peace.